Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're having an amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I am super happy that you're here with me today. In this video, I'm going to be sharing the process that I went through in order to create a canvas landscape oil painting. And this painting is actually going to be the first in a series of 5 paintings that I am challenging myself to create in the next few weeks. Though this video isn't exactly a tutorial of how I created my landscape painting, I am going to be sharing 5 very useful tips that are going to be helping artists out there that are looking to become more loose, dynamic, and expressive in their art style. I am personally at a point in my art journey at which I'm doing a lot of exploration in terms of canvas painting. I have sold pieces locally, and I'm really looking forward to developing my own style and voice, and I really want to sell pieces internationally in the near future. Before I get into the actual tips, I want to share and just clarify a few things with you. When I started getting into art and when I started drawing and painting, I was extremely impressed by artists that were able to draw and paint very realistically. So obviously, I strove to do that as well. And I think that there's immense value to starting this way, to give importance to realistic rendering and practicing observing things that are around you and being able to recreate them as realistically as possible in your artwork. And I also value and respect these artists still to this day so profoundly. It wasn't until recently that I started gaining more confidence in my own art and my own skills that I started challenging myself to really explore and push the limits so that I can someday arrive at my own art style. I am now giving a lot more thought to what I personally want to express with my artwork, what mediums and supplies I want to be using for most of it, and in general, what level of realism and abstraction I want to arrive at. So I guess that what I'm trying to explain here is that if you're still not at a level at which you feel confident in your art skills, at least somewhat, or you feel like you're still missing practicing art fundamentals like value, color, shape, perspective, proportion, etc., then you should definitely be focusing on practicing and understanding that first before you get into deeper experimentations, because that's the base for everything else. Okay everyone, so I'm now going to get into the 5 things that I am making sure to apply myself nowadays in order to ensure that my artwork is becoming looser and more expressive. Tip number 1 goes hand in hand with what I was previously mentioning, and it's to know art fundamentals enough so that you are confident in your skills. You have to know color, shape, form, perspective, depth, value, harmony, composition, and all of these things so that this knowledge is able to come out naturally and organically at the moment that you're drawing or painting. Not to mention, you should also be somewhat skilled at whatever medium you're planning on using, whether it's charcoal, pencil, watercolor, acrylic paint, or whatever it may be. Tip number 2 is to prepare yourself mentally before starting. So you have to start with confidence and you have to remain positive throughout the process. Embrace experimentation, throw perfectionism out of the window, and just let the magic happen. So at this point, hopefully, you know your supplies and you know your medium enough so that you're able to work with them and not against them. Do your best to give up some of your control and allow your medium and your supplies to do some of the speaking for themselves. Tip number 3 is to paint with larger brushes and, if possible, on a larger paper or canvas. This will allow you to work with larger shapes, and working with a larger brush will make it more difficult for you to obsess over tiny little details. It also helps me a lot to remember throughout the process that this piece is meant to be seen from farther away and not from up close. If you're creating a painting, explore what it's like to hold your paintbrush in different ways, always making sure to hold it from farther up in the handle and not close to the bristles. Explore the different types of brush strokes that your brushes are able to make, and also what shapes and textures the bristles of your brushes naturally leave behind. Instead of wanting to control everything, think of how you can use these different things to create the effects you're going for. Another thing that I find very useful is to always make sure that my paintbrush is holding a good amount of paint in it. Tip number 4, and something that I love doing, is to use music. So personally, I love playing some good music that is going to help me stay motivated and positive throughout my process. But what inspires you is going to vary from person to person. If you're looking to create something more dynamic and energetic, then probably you're going to want to play some music like that. And if you want to create something more calm or more relaxed, then pick the music that's right for you. What is important is to play music that is going to help you stay inspired throughout the process. I like to play music that I feel can represent myself in some way, because I feel like that's going to translate into what I do and help me stay positive and believing in myself throughout the process. So whatever that may be for you, just make sure that you create a good playlist for yourself that you can sort of leave in the background, that is going to help you keep your creativity levels flowing. And the final tip, guys, tip number 5 is going to be to learn to leave your brush strokes alone. Try to know when to stop. Try to think about whether continuing with something is really absolutely necessary, or if you're just obsessing over something that is really not needed. Try not to obsess over tiny little mistakes. Do your best to paint with confidence. Leave those brush strokes be, and don't overblend. Blend only whenever it's truly necessary. Step back from your work from time to time and try to discern whether more detail is truly necessary in order to transmit what you want to transmit. Okay everyone, so that is it for today. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that it helped you and that it inspired you to go and do some explorations for yourself. I'm going to be leaving information about the supplies that I used for this project and my blog post and my online shops and lots of other things down below in the description box, so make sure to check that out. Follow me on social media channels so you can see what I'm up to on a daily basis. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And see you next Friday for another video. Bye!